Hey, it's James Yancey, the mortgage lending man, here with an important message from the Iron Throne. With interest rates continuing to climb, the transition from a seller's market to a buyer's market is inevitable. And that's why it's important we consider financing strategies that will help both buyers and sellers to achieve their goals as interest rates continue to rise in this environment. And that's why today I'm going to talk with you about the 2-1 buy down mortgage program. So let's get into it. Okay, so now that we're on my buy down program mortgage plan, let's go ahead and look at a 30-year fixed conventional rate option. Okay, so we're going to assume a purchase price of $500,000 with 5% down in this particular scenario. Ultimately, we're also going to be looking at a conventional loan in this example. However, the buy down is available for FHA and VA buyers. So 5% down would be $25,000 down, giving us a loan amount of $475,000. And again, we're focusing on this first column right now because this is a conventional loan, assuming there was no buy down. And so it's a standard interest rate right now of 6.5% based on the current market conditions. And I'm filming this video October 2nd of 2022. So APR is going to be 6.664% on a 30-year mortgage, and a total payment with taxes and insurance, and I'm assuming Anne Arundel County for this example, is $3,525.53, with cash to close being just over $35,000. So that's total closing costs. But ultimately, so here's what the buy down program is. The buy down program, the 2-1 buy down program, is going to be 2 years of lower interest rates. So in year one, the very first year, you're going to be 2% lower than the starting interest rate. So we can see if you get a standard conventional loan, you'd be at 6.5%. But with this buy down program, the seller is buying down the interest rate on behalf of the buyer on a temporary basis, 2% in the very first year. So in the very first year, you'd be looking at an interest rate of 4.5%, and therefore the bottom line payment is significantly cheaper. You'd be looking at a total payment of $29.97. So this is just under $600 a month less than if you did a standard 30-year fixed mortgage. So ultimately, as you can see, the closing costs are around the $13,000 higher, or a little over $13,000 higher than just the standard conventional loan. Here's the thing. So this additional $13,000 cannot come from the buyer. The seller would contribute to those costs. And you may ask, why would a seller do that? Well, it may make sense for them to do that rather than reducing the purchase price by $13,000. In other words, they can keep their purchase price the same, and it's another form of seller help to make their home more marketable and more competitive, because ultimately we can do special financing for buyers who are looking to purchase this home. The good news is this concession can change. It doesn't have to be $13,000. If the buyer's coming in with more down payment, that's going to change the concession. But ultimately, you should budget around 2%, a little bit over 2% of the sales price to do a buy down properly. So in the second year of the buy down, we can see the interest rate has increased by 1%. Okay, so now the payment savings is now $305. And in year three, if they continue, it's going to look like the standard 30-year fixed. So the reason why a buyer would take advantage of this program is obviously for immediate savings right up front. But in addition to that, we're in an environment right now where interest rates are increasing. But I believe this program is safer than an ARM because you have the guaranteed certainty that your payment can be no higher than the $3,525 that you're starting with. In addition to that, we believe that interest rates will be coming down in the next 2 to 3 years as the Federal Reserve continues to tighten interest rates to combat inflation. At some point, that's going to tip and change, and they're going to need to reduce interest rates because ultimately we're going to be thrown into a recession. Good news for buyers is typically in recessions, housing prices stay flat, but interest rates do begin to come down. So there will be an opportunity to refinance into a lower interest rate, in our opinion, in about 2 to 3 years. So this will give the buyer some relief and ultimately put them in position to have a lower payment for the life of the loan. Another great thing about this program is that should the buyer be able to refinance, let's say in year one, This additional money in closing costs that was paid for by the seller will actually be used to reduce their loan amount and their principal balance. So they lose nothing. They don't lose the buy down. To whereas in a permanent buy down where the buyer buys the interest rate down themselves, first off, if they bought it down to 4.5%, it would be significantly more expensive than the approximately 13,000 plus that the seller would pay on their behalf. And in certain cases, it wouldn't be even be an option because of mortgage lending laws. But that said, the permanent buy down, there's no refund. There's no getting back the funds that were used to buy down the loan. Whereas with a temporary buy down, it's certainly an option. If you have any additional questions about this program, please feel free to reach out to me. We'll certainly be discussing this more and more in the months to come. Feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text message at 410-656-9495. James Yancey signing off. Talk to you soon.